is he? He is obviously the son of Slendrina. We can say he is the last member of Slendrina's family. It all started in an asylum that Slendrina and her mother were haunting. One night, Leave, Slendrina's husband, was wandering aimlessly and found the asylum, and he saw Slendrina and her mother. Leave suddenly bit Slendrina on her neck with his vampire fangs because he felt the curse of Slendrina's family in her blood. Later they found a hidden newborn in a room of the asylum. He was on a table covered with blood. At that point, Leave also bit the child on his neck. But as Leave had bitten Slendrina before, the baby with the bite of Leave was infected by the curse of Slendrina. The curse of Slendrina was circulating in the blood of the baby. Slendrina's mother wanted to keep the baby as the son of Slendrina, to keep the family name going. Because of the curse, the child grew malformed like an alien. Subsequently, Slendrina and her husband Leave left the child in a cellar of a big abandoned building. When Slendrina's mother found this out, she got angry. She attacked and closed Leave inside of a coffin. Slendrina was unaware of this, so the family continued to haunt the houses and cellars. Then I released Leave from the coffin, and he, with the help of Slendrina, abandoned the baby in the asylum, and they punished Slendrina's mum. So there he was, a strange malformed body crawling on the ground, no hair on his head, 2 wide empty eyes and sharp teeth drenched with poison. He is very fast. He runs towards you on all fours with long and awry legs and arms, the bottom back covered with blood. He bites your legs with his sharp teeth, producing a poisonous liquid that is lethal to you. In order to survive, you need an antidote. The curse is owning him, and now he is kind of a zombie, and he is very bloodthirsty. He mainly chases mice and he eats them, but he actually attacks any person who tries to enter the asylum. One night, a group of guards entered in the asylum to conduct a thorough search. They didn't know that the child of Slendrina was hidden in the asylum, thirsty for blood and ready to attack them. The 6 guards conducted a check in different parts of the structure. Suddenly and quickly, the child ran towards the legs of one of the guards, biting and tearing them. And then when the man was on the ground screaming out loud, the child bit his face with a clean sharp bite, killing him. Another guard at that point tried to shoot him, but the child was too fast and he had hid himself. Then the child, while the guard was turned, jumped on his back and he bit the guard in the arm. Afterward, the child went to chase the other guards, leaving the second guard to die with the poison that was killing him on the floor of that damn asylum. At the end of the night, all 6 guards were killed by the child of Slendrina, that for days ate the flesh of the corpses. Sometimes some homeless end up in the asylum to spend the night, but the child of Slendrina is always ready to attack them. The child doesn't know he was abandoned, and he has a father and a mother. Maybe he doesn't remember anything, but we know only one thing for sure, that this baby has become as evil as his mother, and that he will do everything to stop you and kill you if you enter the asylum.
Sometimes Granny's house remains empty. When you're a prisoner, sometimes Granny leaves you alone at home. But where does Granny go? She goes to the grandpa with her car. But why? How does she know him? Granny had gone to Grandpa to deliver the diary of Slendrina, in which all her history was kept. In fact, the house of Grandpa was safer than Granny's. But who's the grandpa? Grandpa was Granny's husband, but if you remember, Granny was a widow. What happened between the two? Let's start many years before the curse and the misfortune of the castle of Slendrina. Granny and Grandpa had married happily and had spent their wedding years in Granny's house. Grandpa was a carpenter. He had a passion for technology. Years later, they had a daughter, Angeline, Slendrina's mother. One day, exploring the places near Granny's house, Grandpa discovered a mansion. He opened a locked door with a crowbar, and inside he saw that there were bags of coins. He began to pick them up, but Krasu came out of the darkness and bit him in his chest. Grandpa left the mansion and ran into the woods towards home, but suddenly he fell dead on the path. Granny, seeing that Grandpa was not coming back, went to look for him and found him dead. Granny buried him behind the house. Then time passed. At home, Slender Man came. Slendrina was born, and the curse happened. When Granny learned that Slendrina was dead, she tried in every way to bring her husband to life. It was at this time that he discovered Lev, the future husband of Slendrina. Lev was not yet a vampire. At that time, he was experimenting in his laboratory. Granny asked Lev to bring Grandpa back to life. He accepted, and after recovering Grandpa's body, the experiment began. He poured a potion into Grandpa's mouth, and then ordered Granny to bury the body and wait a few days. Then he left. One day, Granny, she went out into the garden and saw that Grandpa had come out of the ground, then found him behind. He was changed. He didn't speak. He could see, but it wasn't that good, and he was deaf. Granny noticed that Grandpa had not lost his abilities, but it was strange. He didn't answer and he didn't reason, and Granny was afraid. He was just different. After a while, Granny decided to take him to an old house near the river. This house was a nursing home. It was kind of a madhouse, but then Grandpa began to kill all the nurses with a crowbar. One night, with the boat that he had built, Grandpa retraced the sewers to the river and found Lev's house. Grandpa entered the open house, but he wasn't there. Lev was gone. He had already been transformed into a vampire. Grandpa stole Lev's potions and returned home. Coming down from the boat, a potion fell into the water where a small octopus lived, and you know. On that day, the disgrace of the castle happened, and Granny transformed into a zombie and had gone to get Slendrina's diary and teddy bear. Sometime later, Granny realized that Slendrina's diary was in danger at her home, so she took the diary to Grandpa's house. Both decided to protect him and devised a trap by hiding keys and placing cameras. Now there are two in this house. If you want to enter, you have no chance. They have two ways to kill you. One, they feed you to a giant octopus. And two, they block you in an Iron Maiden.